I think that's what happens. You get defined as a certain type of person.
I asked myself, why would God take her away?
The Starfish Project
was bullshit.
Is a
right?
documentary theater project.
So
what we did is we went
lost
around the
faith in
community,
God.
around the school, and we interviewed officers, teachers, family members, the Husky Club, custodians. We asked them about home.
Everything. I lost my mom. The Starfish Project. Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Starfish is a documentary theater project. So the idea is that we interview people from around the community, around the school, and we record the interviews as we're doing them, and then we transcribe them. So we sit at computers, for hours and like type away and transcribe them and word for word, and then we cut those transcriptions, which can be 20, 40 pages, down into around 2 pages into 2-minute monologues, and then we perform them. And we act as those characters that we originally interviewed. So that's the long and short of what Starfish is.
So I can cut that. So that's what he said. And the more and more I look at this interview, he keeps talking about how his mom instigates it, but he says here, like...
This year's theme kind of grew out of last year's, and last year, the first year we did it was love and violence, like the sort of the dichotomy, like the interaction of the two in our neighborhood, how love and violence, how it affects all of us, how kind of these two things, and so the monologues switched off on these two themes, and often they were related.
We're going to move from everything that you transcribed is valuable, every story that you heard is valuable. And if it was an interview, you're not going to use it. It was important for you to sit with that person.
I came to realize that home sort of encapsulated all that we were been talking about in a way that was both broader and more specific. Like home at first seems like a huge thing, but really it's just like we're looking at what happens in the home, where people feel most comfortable, and for most people that's one of two probably most important places in their lives, their home, where they are.
Find a way to compensate. A starry night and a stranger's gaze. Can you make me feel so light and so heavy at the end of the night? Well, it goes round in my head. I don't wanna know, I just wanna find. Oh, I'm so tell me, am I just a machine? Is my mind obsolete?
Okay, we put a lot of work into it, like a lot of work, and it becomes a part of like every part of my day almost, because like the people that I've interviewed are my friends or in my classes or my teachers, and like I see them and talk to them about Starfish. I don't know, people just ask you questions about it all the time, and so like you're always kind of on, but like rehearsal is like 3 hours a day. Lessing's my teacher, so I talk to him about Starfish. I don't know, it's like a lot of work, but it's worth it.
Okay, let's stop for a second. Are we halfway through?
There's like 2 pages left. And is it stuff, does he just go on about the same stuff? Does she just go on about the same stuff?
She's talking about how she moved to Wisconsin to like avoid all of the drama at OPRF, but it was still there. And like even though it was really rural, like she can never.
We get together every day after school for anywhere between 2.5 hours to 3 hours, and we like kind of warm up first, and then we rehearse. We transcribed at the beginning for, I felt like, hours on end.
And I think the larger idea for me is that, you know, a starfish calls upon that everyone has the ability to tell a story and everybody has the ability to listen. And there's 3,500 kids here, and there's 300 teachers and staff and thousands of community members, and that it's important for everyone to have a voice, to be able to express their story and who they are and where they come from and their love and their pain. That should have a place in school too. I feel strongly about that.
Stand up and be ready to go so that when they finish, you start right away. Okay? Which is sort of how we did it last year, so I just want to see how that looks. So find out the person before you their last line.
So I went to Starfish last year, and I absolutely loved it. And I loved it because it was such a unique performance. And what it is, it's so unique in the sense that you sit on stage and the actors sit amongst the audience. So you are sitting literally on pillows and next to all these people, and it just gives you such this homey, loving atmosphere. And so that really helps the play and the performance and just everything.
Come from home, not here, except for when my check don't come. Now that's a bad day.
The food that reminds me of home is salad.
I think the goal for everybody, I think the goal is to get everybody to understand the meaning of each actor's part. So like mine is about, can I talk about this? Okay, mine is about somebody who's a test tube baby, so she's kind of like adopted, but not really. And so it's kind of getting across her feelings and how she doesn't really relate to her mom. And so I want you guys to feel that. I want you guys to walk out of here and feel like, what it's like to be adopted, or
I feel orphaned a little bit. I love packing up my things. They look adorable. So I notice things a lot, and this makes me happy. The things make me happy.
I actually performed a Starfish monologue at a benefit concert for women's rights, and the girl who I was performing came up to me afterwards and was just in tears, so emotional over the fact that her story was told to other people. A story that she couldn't really tell herself was told to other people. Her story, her words, and it was really her telling it. You become sort of like a channel for other people's stories. And I got a text from her this morning saying, thank you so much. I've grown so much just by you doing this for me. And that, just that means a lot. The actual performance at OPRF, I think it's going to be similar. I think people will have a similar reaction to their monologues being performed. A lot of these stories are stories that people haven't told or people can't tell, or just to see your own self mirrored, I think will be big. I don't know.
I want movement in this one. And maybe it's crossing each other. Maybe it's just simple as walking. Like, I like Gabe's image of like walk and talk. I don't know if that.
The people that I've interviewed, like, they're honored because their story is heard. And I don't know, I haven't had the experience of like in a performance acting out anyone I've interviewed yet, but I've like run the monologue by my friend Claire, and like I don't know, like it's just like this kind of, like there's like a, I don't know, like I think that she really likes the fact that she's going to be performed on stage. Like she was really excited to get interviewed, and like she also wants, it to be like a good cut, because she wants her story to be told well, and it's really hard to condense that to 2 minutes. But yeah, I don't know. I think it's going to be really cool for me, for her, everyone.
Roll back your glazed eyes, don't let them see mine. You know, I know you. And I was trying too hard just to know me. And then I found you, yeah, I found you. Whoa,
Hi everyone, welcome to the Starfish Project. Thank you for coming.
Now we're gonna go on to the playroom, and you might feel a bit confined at first, but then you'll look up and you'll say, wow! You'll notice he takes you through low, narrow, dark hallways, then releases you into bigger, taller, more open spaces. He was a master at getting you to experience his architecture. You don't just walk in a room, it becomes an experiential thing. Do you notice how this room just opened up? It's a volcano of space!
You're not going to school this week. And I was so confused. I looked on the calendar and I was like, we definitely have school this week. I don't know what you're talking about. And I remember them both just crying.
And it was the most empty, meaningless crying I've ever done. It was completely empty. There was nothing there.
My dad has a serious girlfriend now, and I like her, but would rather not have them be together, I guess.
I mean, no one's gonna replace your mom. When I sit down at dinner, I sit across from my stepmother, and I try to think about how different it would be if I sat across from my mom.
I've become more relied on. I want to help people. I don't want to not help people. It's just sometimes I clearly need help too.
My family doesn't talk about things. It's been 5 years, and I still don't know how she died because I'm afraid to bring it up.
I feel like my family's kind of like that too. One time I cried in front of my dad, and he, on impulse, was like, I cry in the shower, why can't you not cry in front of me?
My mom was this amazing, amazing woman. She was a minister, like she was working for God. And so I asked myself, why would God take her away? It was bullshit, right? So I lost faith in God.
I lost everything normal.
I lost my hero.
I lost my role model.
I lost the ability to love again.
I lost the ability to trust again.
I lost my world.
I lost everything.
I
lost my mom.
Whoa, that we're dying here.
Husky Pups, Oak Park River Forest Daycare Center.
I'm Yelena. My home have a balloon in it that says, I love you. Really?
My name's Fisher. Mother, do you know my dad? Ganshaw. He said the wrong name. He's Balin.
I fell asleep! My daddy builds bridges and roads in the city. I used to live in the city when I was a baby, but now I moved so far. I like it better because that city was so loud. I tried to fall asleep, but we have a little bit of playtime like the bouncy balloons. My daddy blew me up one. And
Do you know my brother? Patrick. He's 7. I come from pretty close
I come
to
from
here.
I come from Oak Park. My house big. Big house. Big house. Big house. Big house. We do a lot of dress upping at home. I dress up like Spider Girl. We have a lot of things at home. We have water that you can drink and juice. We have raspberry juice and strawberry
Following the dead, really.
Brendan Lee, English teacher.
And when I was following the Grateful Dead, every thought in my brain was about the Grateful Dead. This cycle started with the shows and the concerts with these epic experiences. Not the same show over and over again. You know, if you saw, let's say, 2 or 3 weeks of shows, there would be a few shows that were maybe not the best. But once every week and a half or so, there would be this show. It was like a tribal experience. Everyone was synced into this one particular moment, usually choreographed by Jerry Garcia in the way he played the guitar.
I grew up in a wealthy area that's similar to Oak Park or River Forest, but I grew up in poverty.
Shayla Holland, assistant principal.
And I say in poverty, I got free lunch. My mom didn't make much money, but I was still affirmed. I was more affirmed there than I've been in other places, so money doesn't equate everything. It's being in a place where you're affirmed, you're loved, and you're cared for, and to me, that's home. Despite the hardships that you face, despite not being affirmed by an educational system, a legal system, and all the things around us, the people in my community still made that home. It's about the construction of a safe place where Black people could affirm one another, and by doing so, heal many of the wounds inflicted by racial domination. That's home to me. That's community, and that's home. Home and where I grew up is where I learned to love myself culturally, racially, love my sexuality, love my gender, love my spirituality, and have all of that affirmed. Despite the messages that came saying, Shayla, you need to straighten your hair. Shayla, you need to talk like this. You need to do this, that, and the other. The people in my community embraced me for everything that I was.
To the city from smaller towns in Wisconsin, but when you start to get into your early 30s, and especially once you start to have a family, you do those things less and less. All the restaurants and bars and theaters and all these things that you convince yourself you are constantly doing. You, in your head, you
literally only because it made more sense to finish it.
Jesse Value, dropout.
Because at that point, I wasn't gonna finish on time. I was failing like everything for that semester, and I didn't want to be 19 and still in high school or some bullshit. Like, who knows what I would have been able to fuck up had I stayed in school. So what led to that, though, just not going to class, I guess. I smoked a lot of weed, hated school, the combination of the two. I really didn't want to drop out. Like, you know, the whole OC shit. I know so many kids, the only reason they were passing was because they were in OC, and they're not like fucking stupid kids, they just weren't doing what I was. And I mentioned OC to my counselor, and he laughed in my face and was like, we're not gonna let you get that cop out. And I'm like, well, okay, it's that, or I'm gonna drop out. Like, I don't really have any other choice.
Never had any idea who he was. It gets more interesting. When I was in high school, I was good in track, and I broke the school record in the discus. Then one day, this guy shows up. Never met him before. The track coach walks over to me. The guy shakes my hand and says, "Congratulations, you broke my record." Didn't know this at the time. It's my uncle. My biological uncle. Yeah, ironically, not ironically, we look alike. But had no idea. My high school is on Johnson Drive. My real last name is Johnson.
The home that I was born in, and the home that I made. Driven society is very complex, ethnically. There's a lot of oppression that happens. Some people of a certain ethnicity were oppressed by the rich families that they were serving. That affected me a lot. I had a couple people that worked in my house. It was different though because my family wasn't from the rich, let's say, oligarchy in Peru. The relationship of these two people with my family was extremely positive and friendly. One of them was practically a son of my grandfather. We considered him that way because he had lived with us for such a long time, but there's a racial connection to the jobs that they were doing. The way they behaved towards my parents. It's just a situation of serving somebody, which is, if you want to think about something you might be more familiar with, the same thing that happens here. Imagine what happened in the U.S. with slavery and African American people. It's exactly the same.
Peter Herman, building engineer.
It's all home. Oh my goodness. I don't know, I have to think. Home is right here. All right, that's my home. So wherever I go, I'm home. If I'm in Germany, I'm home because my heart is in it to it. If I'm here with you two little guys, I'm home. Hey, my heart is into it. If a guy cuts me off in traffic, I'm not home. that is not my world. But when my heart kicks in, I'm home.
It's important for you when you hear people spit out some truth to really take a minute to honor that, right? There's a lot of stuff that we hear all day that is not necessarily the truth. And it doesn't have to be the ones with the big capital T. Those ones with the little t's, and I heard a bunch of them tonight. Now let's take another minute to just thank everybody for all their work on this.
There is a kind of strange power that performing someone else's words brings. There's a kind of strange, power being like for someone watching it. So there's three, I don't know if I've told you this before, but there's three people who are very involved, very affected by what we do. There is the interviewee, the interviewer, and the audience member. And for the interviewee and the interviewer, it's strange because when the performance is just like is capturing and elevating this event that happened, this interview, to the status of great theater and saying this is important, people need to see this. And by making that assertion, it becomes important somehow. Like these stories, which they're not really more important than anyone else's stories. Everyone, part of what we want to point out is that everyone has them. Everyone has these stories. We pick people because we think that, either they give us an entertaining or a story that maybe would work on stage, but everyone has stories that are important.
It shouldn't be an after-school thing. It should be like part of our school. And I'm going to push for it as hard as I can, or I'm not going to last. I really believe that here. And that's why I think there are people who want to do it, and we just have to keep doing it until it becomes their idea. People like wonderful people like Jeff Weissglass and Amy Hill and Shayla Holland and Jackie Moore, and there was another board member here, and so I'm going to keep trying and try to get you into the rooms to say what you witnessed. So that's my vow.
The thing twice. I still want to talk about it because it did flick a switch. It did start something. It didn't create a large movement, but it started something. And people from other schools want to start at their school, and people in other towns want to start it there, and people in the community want to interweave, or what's the word I'm looking for? Integrate. They want to integrate Starfish into their lives, and that's what I think we started. I don't think we started individually, each person becoming more non-judgmental and becoming more accepting. I think we changed the larger scale of people want to know about other people. We're no longer the person that lives across the block. We're no longer the girl that puts her headphones in the hallway. We're someone, and we have significance. And that's what the Starfish Project changed in interactions is people want to know more, and people want knowledge, and And we started a craving of friendship and community. And so I don't think we necessarily, as I said before, we necessarily changed each human being to become more loving and stuff, but we started a movement. And that's why Starfish Project is important.
You say to them, love me. Of course, you do not say this out loud, otherwise someone would call the cops. Still, though, think about this great pull in us to connect. Why not become the one who lives with a full moon in each eye? That is always saying with that sweet moon language what every other eye in this world is dying to hear. I guess, I want people in the theater to have an experience. There's no shortage of ways to have information in the world, but to be able to cry or laugh or to be moved or have their heart, change. I think there's the obvious way of not looking at people and reducing them to a series of judgments or a series of observations or assumptions. And seeing people full of contradictions and full of the richness of who they are. But there's also a more simpler thing of for 2 hours just to be feel home, in that theater. I think if you can give people that experience of intimacy then you're already going to have an impact. It might not be a life-changing impact, like they're going to go home and do something different. But that it might be enough just to have that experience. They might want more.
You hear these stories about people that you walk by in the hallway, and you don't know anything about them, and you don't know their stories. So, I don't know. I just want to pose a question to the group, if that's okay. How do we go on?
Pretty deep, but your worth to me is deeper. And you can be careful and you can wind around me your caution tape. I'd understand. You leave so fast, so hear me now. Hey, it's been a while, how have you been? Please don't say just fine. Please don't, it's spring and sticky rain floods all of March. Can we refresh our feet? Won't you take
In the end, what changes people through this performance, this show, this project, this process is it fuses this concept of empathy and understanding into our own being.